English step by step. Present perfect with for and since, step 1. Remember, if you'd like to see more videos like this, click like. If you'd like to see other videos in my series, click subscribe. If you'd like to request a topic for a lesson, leave a comment below. So let's look at when we use for and since with the present perfect. So, we use for and since to say how long something has been happening. Now, we use for to talk about a period of time. For example, for 2 days, for 2 hours, for 2 years. We use since to talk about the starting point of a period of time. For example, since 9 o'clock, since Monday, since 2008. So remember, for plus a period of time, since plus a point of time. Examples: I've been studying for an hour. I've been studying since 9 o'clock. Now, you can also give this information using the past simple verb started, and then you would have to say ago, an hour ago. And then for the second sentence you would have to say at 9 o'clock. I started studying at 9 o'clock. Okay, example 2. They've been living here for 11 years. They've been living here since 2010. And then using the past simple you would have to say they moved here 11 years ago, or they moved here in 2010. Example number 3. This is a negative example. I haven't seen Alan for 3 days. I haven't seen Alan since Friday. And with the past simple, you would have to say, I saw Alan 3 days ago. I saw Alan on Friday. Okay, example number 4. I've known Jane for ages. I've known Jane since we were kids. And then in past simple, you would have to say, I first met Jane ages ago. Or I first met Jane when we were kids. Okay, example number 5. They've been married for 20 years, or they've been married since 2010. And then with the past simple you would have to use a different verb, get. They got married 20 years ago, or they got married in 2010. Okay, last example. This is again a negative example. He hasn't had a haircut for 3 months. He hasn't had a haircut since January. And in the past simple, you would again have to use the verb get. He last got a haircut 3 months ago. Or he last got a haircut in January. So, remember how to use for, since, and ago. Let's look at some more points about for and since. Now the first point is about for. You can leave out the for in most affirmative sentences. Now, affirmative is the opposite of negative. So negative sentences and affirmative sentences. So you can leave out the for in affirmative sentences, but not in negative sentences. Now this is particularly true in spoken English or in informal written English. Examples: I've been studying for an hour. You can just say, I've been studying an hour. Number 2, they've been living here for 11 years. You can just say, they've been living here 11 years. Now, the next one is negative, so we must use for. We can't leave it out. I haven't seen Alan for 3 days. And the next one is an expression with for. for ages. Now, if you have an expression like this, for ages, then you must keep the for. In this case, I've known Jane for ages. Number 5, they've been married for 20 years. In this case, we can say they've been married 20 years. The next one is negative, so you must use the for. He hasn't had a haircut for 3 months. The next point is also about using for. You do not use for with expressions that use all for a period of time. For example, all day, all morning, all year, all my life. And also, for example, all afternoon, all evening, all night. Here are some examples. Number 1, I've lived here all my life. Number 2, you've been working all morning. She's been travelling all summer. So, in these cases, we don't use for. So now let's look at some sentence structures with since. You can use present tense, it is, instead of present perfect, it's been, with time expressions using since. Let's look at some examples. It's 10 years since I last smoked a cigarette. And you could also say, it's been 10 years since I last smoked a cigarette. So the first example is using the present tense, and the second example is using present perfect. Both of these are correct. And they both mean, I haven't smoked a cigarette for 10 years. Now, you could also give this same information in the past simple, saying, I last smoked a cigarette 10 years ago. So, let's look at another example. It's ages since I last saw Peter. Or you could also say, it's been ages since I last saw Peter. Now, again, you could also give the same information by saying, I last saw Peter ages ago. And yet, that's using the past simple verb, saw. Okay, and it's ages since I last saw Peter. It's been ages since I last saw Peter. That means I haven't seen Peter for ages. Number 3. It's 2 days since the news reached us. Now, you can also say, it's been 2 days since the news reached us. And that means the news reached us 2 days ago. You can make questions with since using the present simple or the present perfect simple. Let's look at some examples here. How long is it since you last smoked a cigarette? How long has it been since you last smoked a cigarette? Now, the question is the same. The first one uses the present simple and the second one uses the present perfect simple. Now, you could give the information for the answer using the past simple here. For example, I last smoked a cigarette 10 years ago. Number 2, how long is it since you last saw Peter? How long has it been since you last saw Peter? So, the information for the question is the same. How long is it? How long has it been? And you could give the answer using the past simple. I last saw Peter ages ago. Number 3, how long is it since the news reached us? How long has it been since the news reached us? So, is it, has it been? And the answer could be, the news reached us 2 days ago. So this brings us to the end of step 1. You can move on to step 2 to do some practice exercises. And remember, click like or subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this.